So one of the questions we've been getting asked about Advice Designer is how can I take, what would otherwise be quite static text and actually use more AI features or other tools that you might be using to help communicate your advice in a more effective way. So we haven't built any AI into Advice Designer for a lot of good reasons. However, that doesn't stop you from using some potential plugins that you may be using across your business to maximize the effectiveness of the cloud-based tool. I'm just going to show a couple of examples of how that would work, and that'll hopefully give you some ideas. So one of the first ones is that with Advice Designer, what we're finding with a lot of clients is when it comes to things like inserting client goals and reasons for seeking advice, what they're doing in many cases is actually taking transcripts from their Copilot, whether it's Otter or Microsoft Copilot, and using that to actually effectively summarize the client meeting, summarize the client goals, and then look to transcribe some of that information into our Advice Designer authoring as a way of getting around this issue. Now, the thing that we would recommend is that obviously you're going to have clients' goals put in here. So I've just dropped in a summary, which is from our Copilot, and that may or may not work for you. In this particular instance, I've got the Grammarly plugin here, which obviously serves two purposes. One is it will improve your writing. So you obviously set it up for Australian, particularly Australian English language for spelling purposes and grammar. This should improve the quality of your paraplanner's authoring or your authoring. But one of the other really good features too is we can actually change the tone and get some feedback about how this is written. So we would suggest with Grammarly, you can actually do things like say, my client has a certain way of communicating, or for example, in this particular instance, we've said here that please rewrite in a way that a client of a financial advisor with white collar professionals in their 40s could relate to, and it'll actually give us a suggestion on how that works. And it obviously will require a bit of tweaking, and you can actually just drop the content in there straight away. So that's a good example of how you can actually use some of the AI features that you're already using today. And I think tools like Grammarly are a wonderful example to actually proofread the advice correctly before you've actually dropped it into the final presentation layer and into the final document.